A seller with a 4.8 star rating woke up to a 28% drop in conversions. Nothing changed, no bad reviews, no listing suppression, just a small red badge that said 3 words: frequently returned items. That badge is one of the most damaging things Amazon can put on your listing. Conversions will drop 25 to 50%. Sales tank, ranking falls, and here's the part that keeps sellers up at night. You can't appeal it. You can't call support and get it removed. It's automatic. What I'm about to show you is the one badge on Amazon that can destroy a listing and the exact plan to get rid of it. We've helped brands recover from this badge across electronics, home goods, toys, and apparel. And every single time the recovery follows the same pattern. The brands that fix it fast have one thing in common. They knew their category threshold before the badge appeared. I'm going to show you what triggers the badge, the category specific thresholds Amazon won't publish, how to check your risk level in 60 seconds, and the 7-step plan to remove it. At the 7-minute mark, I'm going to show you a candle seller who had a 3.4% return rate and still got hit with the badge. Most people would think 3.4% is great. It's not. And the reason why will change how you think about every product in your catalog. But first, you need to understand what this badge actually does to your listing. Now, here's what the badge looks like. It's a dark red banner, warning icon, and it sits right under your reviews, above the fold, impossible to miss. It says frequently returned item. Check the product detail and the customer reviews to learn more. Now, imagine you're a customer. You're about to buy a product. You see 4.8 stars. It looks great. And then you see that red badge. What do? You close the tab. You buy from someone else. That's exactly what happens 25 to 50% of the time. This isn't a cosmetic problem. It creates a death spiral. Badge appears, conversion drops. Lower conversion means fewer sales. Fewer sales means lower ranking. Lower ranking means fewer sales. And the whole time, that badge is still sitting there. One seasonal seller described this from selling well to almost dead in a matter of days after the badge appeared. Let me tell you what makes this worse. Amazon's position is clear. The badge is automatic. It applies when your return rate is significantly higher than similar products in the same category. Support cannot remove it. There is no appeal form. There's no escalation path, and there's no fast track. Amazon doesn't tell you the exact threshold. They don't tell you the exact time window. They don't tell you the volume minimum. You're supposed to just figure it out. Now, here's what we know. Amazon looks at your trailing 3-month return rate. They compare it to your category average. If you're significantly above it, the badge goes on. The formula is simple. Units returned in month 1, 2, and 3 divide by units shipped in month 1. If you shipped 1,000 units in June and 50 came back between June and August, your return rate is 5%. And here's what really gets to people. If you sell variations to different sizes, colors, styles on the same listing, the badge on one child ASIN can tank the entire parent listing. One bad variation kills all of them. Now, here's how you can check your risk right now. You can go into Seller Central Performance tab, Voice of the Customer, and you'll see the dashboard with columns. 2 of them matter. 3-month return rate, that's your actual rate, and suggested return rate, that's your category threshold. If your 3-month rate is above the suggested rate, you're at risk. If it's within 1% point, you're on the edge. That takes 60 seconds. Pull it up right now. I'll wait. If you see an at-risk flag next to any ASIN, that's a pre-badge warning. Fix it before the badge appears, because once it's on, you're looking at a 60 to 120 day minimum to get it removed. Now, if you just checked your Voice of Customer dashboard and saw something you didn't like, you're going to want a removal plan that's coming up. I break down Amazon profit killers like this every week, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next one. So now let's talk about what Amazon won't publish. Amazon says they don't publish exact thresholds, and that's technically true for the badge, but in 2024, Amazon launched return processing fees and published category specific threshold for those fees. Sellers have figured out that these thresholds line up almost exactly with when the badge appears. So while Amazon won't tell you the badge trigger, they accidentally told you anyway. So here are the numbers. I'll go through the major categories, so pause it if you need to. So the high threshold categories, you have more room. So backpacks and luggage, that's 12.8%. Consumer electronics, 11.2%. Watches, 12%. Jewelry, 10.8%. Pet products, 10.2%. Furniture, 9.6%. Then you have the mid-threshold categories. So you've got home and kitchen, 8.1%. Sports and outdoors, 8.7%. Tools and home improvements, 8.7%. Lawn and garden, 7.7%. Beauty and health, 5.5%. Low threshold categories. This is where people get caught. Toys and games, 4.7%. Office products, 4.4%. Groceries and gourmet, 2.9%. Let's read that last one again. Groceries and gourmet, 2.9%. if you're selling anything categorized as grocery and your return rate hits 3%, you could get the badge. 3% on a product that most people would consider having a great return rate. This is why knowing your threshold matters more than knowing your return rate. A 5% return rate is amazing in electronics, it's a disaster in toys, and it's the same number. Here's the operating rule. Keep your 3-month return rate at least 1 to 2% points below the category threshold. Home and kitchen threshold is 8.1%, aim for 6.5 or lower. Toys threshold is 4.7%, aim for 3% or lower. That margin of safety is the difference between a clean listing and a badge that takes 3 months to remove. Now, you'd think the badge only hits sellers with bad products or high return rates. It doesn't. Let me show you 3 real cases from seller forums. So case 1, the candle seller, 3.4% return rate, candle product, about 100 units sold over 2 months, 3 returns, return rate 3.4%, badge appeared. How? The candle was categorized under groceries and gourmet, threshold 2.9%. A 3.4% rate exceeds that by 0.5 percentage point. 3 returns on 100 units, that's all it took. The lesson, category assignment can make or break you. Same candle under home and kitchen, 8.1% threshold, would have been perfectly safe. Under groceries, 3% triggered the badge. Case 2, the bulk return 20 units. A seller selling compliance badges for retail stores, B2B product. One customer ordered 20 units, decide they want a different size, return all 20. Amazon counts that as 20 individual returns. Not one customer changed their mind, 20 returns, return rate spiked, badge appeared. The seller eventually pulls the listing and moves to eBay. The lesson, Amazon calculates per unit, not per order. One bulk return can blow your entire rate. Now case 3, this one's the hardest to stomach. A seller reports having 0 recorded returns on an ASIN, badge appeared anyway. Possible reasons, another seller on the same ASIN with a high return, a data sync delay between Amazon's internal system, or competitor manipulation. Amazon support acknowledges the badge, but they say they can't manually remove it. No explanation, no fix, no timeline. Now, I'm not telling you these stories to scare you. I'm telling you because the badge doesn't always make sense. And since you can't appeal it, the only strategy that works is prevention. If you're relying on my return rate looks fine, that's not enough. You need to know the category threshold, monitor voice of customer weekly, and build a margin of safety. Because if a seller with 3.4% return on a candle can get the badge, anyone can. Now, if you've got the badge right now, here's the reality. There's no shortcuts. There's no phone call that fixes it. Amazon has to see sustained improvement in your return rate before the badge disappears. That takes 60 to 120 days in most cases. Some sellers report up to 120 days, but you can compress that timeline by being aggressive with fixes. Here's the 7-step plan we use. Think of this as a 12 to 20 week recovery program. Each step builds on the last. Now, step 1, let's do a root cause analysis, and you do this in week 1. So go to Seller Central, reports, fulfillment, FBA customer returns, and pull the last 90 days for the badged ASIN. Filter by return reason and then read the customer comments. You're building a table, return reasons, count, percentages. Here's what a typical breakdown looks like. Damaged in transit, 38%. Defective, 20%. Not as described, 17%. Wrong size, 13%. Changed their mind, 11%. Focus on the fixable categories. So packaging, quality, listing accuracy. Changed their mind is harder to control. But the other 89% in this example, that's actionable. So step 2, listing fixes. This targets not as described and wrong size returns. So update your title with exact dimensions and materials. So not large knife, but 8-inch stainless steel chef's knife, 7.2 ounce. Rewrite bullets to set real expectations. If it runs small, say it runs small. If assembly is required, say assembly is required. Update images, add scale references. So product next to hand, a coffee mug, a common object, and add measurement graphics overlaid on the product photos. One apparel seller saw a 25% plus return rate because their marketing photos showed tight styling on a relaxed fit product. Customers expected one thing and got another. Fix, resequence images to show the true fit first. Add relaxed fit to the title, and return rate dropped by 10% in 2 months. Expected impact from listing fixes alone, 10 to 15% reduction in returns. Step 3, you want to look at packaging improvements. So this is something you do within week 3 and 6. This targets damaged in transit returns, often your biggest category. Move from basic packaging to custom fit inserts, corner protection, double wall outer cartons. So cost increases roughly 50 cents to $1.70 per unit. But if 30 to 40% of your returns are damage related, this one change can cut your total return rate by a third. One retailer spent months renegotiating freight contracts to reduce damage. Then they redesigned the box and solved 40% of the problem. Now, step 4 is quality control. Again, this is something you'll do in week 3 to 6. This targets defective returns. So pre-shipped inspection at the factory or 3PL, random sampling or 100% inspection for the badged SKU. It costs roughly 75 cents a unit. If 20% of your returns are defective, you can cut that dramatically with this basic QC. One electronic seller caught a 10% defect rate during inspection. They fixed it before inventory hit FBA, avoided thousands in refunds. And in step 5, proactive customer support. Do this within week 2 to 8. This targets change my mind and doesn't work as expected returns. Send a post-purchase follow-up with Amazon's messaging guidelines, short setup guide, top 3 FAQs. If anything's wrong, reach out before returning. So one kitchen appliance brand started sending a digital recipe booklet after purchases. Result, 15 to 25% reduction in change my mind returns. Customers discovered new uses for the product and kept it. Expected impact, 3 to 8% of returns prevented. Step 6, daily monitoring. And you want to do this between weeks 4 and 12. So check voice of customer every single day for the badged ASIN. You're tracking one number, 3 months return rate versus suggested rate. You want to see a trend like this. So week 1, 8.9% above the threshold. Week 2, 8.3%. Week 4, 7.8% below the threshold. Week 6, 7.2%. Week 8, 6.8%. And week 12, 6.3%. Comfortably in the safe zone. The rate needs to stay below the threshold for weeks, not days, weeks. And then step 7, patience. This is the hardest step. The badge disappears automatically once Amazon's system confirms sustained improvement. There's no email notification, there's no alert, it just quietly goes away. 60 to 120 days is typical. Some categories take longer. There is no way to speed this up. Your job during this phase, keep doing everything from step 1 through 6. Don't relax. Don't assume it's fixed because the rate dropped below the threshold last week. Amazon needs to see consistency. So that's 7 steps, 12 to 20 weeks. It's not glamorous, it's not fast, but the brands that recover are the ones who treat this like a structural fix, not a band-aid. New packaging, better QC, honest listings, weekly monitoring. And here's the thing, even if you don't have the badge right now, this same system prevents it from ever appearing. 15 minutes a week in the voice of customer dashboard, that's the difference between catching a problem at 7% and scrambling at 12%. Now here's what it comes down to. Amazon built this badge to protect customers, and honestly, it works. It tells shoppers, be careful with this one. The problem is, it doesn't care about your intentions. It doesn't care about your 4.8 star rating. It doesn't care that you had 3 returns on 100 units. It only cares about the one number versus another number. The badge isn't the problem, it's the symptom. Fix the cause, the listing, the packaging, the quality, and the badge takes care of itself. You can't appeal it. You can't call someone. You can only fix it. So fix it. Now you just learned how to protect your listing from the badge, but there is another way sellers destroy their own account, and it's the exact opposite problem. Instead of Amazon punishing a good product, you punish a good campaign. One seller saw a 62% ACOS on a chef's knife campaign. Seller board said kill it, so they paused it. Organic sales on the 3 other products dropped 60% overnight. Turned out that the knife campaign was driving $17K a year in cross-sell profits that seller board couldn't see. It's called the window product problem, and there's a free Amazon report that exposes it in 60 seconds. I broke the whole thing down, the report, the math, the real case study, in another video. If you just learned how to stop Amazon from killing your listing, that one will show you how to stop yourself from killing your best campaign. The link is up here somewhere. See you there.